Hello, and welcome to Conscientious Community Content Critique. I'm John Denor, and with me is, of course, Shuv.
Hello?
And this time, we are looking through The Snow Queen's Fury, a midwinter adventure for Draw Steel by Miura. This is a adventure that was released back in December of 2025. It contains 25 pages. You get the PDF in both single pages and spreads if you prefer those. There's also a print version of the PDF to make it easier to print. It comes with maps, both with a festive theme and one with a specific Christmas theme, if you're so inclined. And there are obsidian notes with stat blocks using the Draw Steel Elements plugin, and some simple tokens that comes along to use with they're just initial tokens with initials inside them. All that bundled up in one adventure that you can get to play a, let's call it, winter themed adventure.
Yeah. I think it specifically mentions that this is not a Christmas themed adventure.
Yes,
So, yeah.
it is very heavily inspired, and I can actually, let's look through the credits and such
Yeah.
before we move on. So this is written by M.A. Miura, as we mentioned, and it uses the glyphs from Mr. Matt Dollar.
Our very own?
Aren't we all? Indeed.
Yeah.
And it mentions, as part of its inspirations, that the Snow Queen by Hans Christian Andersen is central, and that's the same inspiration that Frozen uses. So there are some themes that kind
Yeah.
of
Yeah.
come across. Yeah, but there are
Actually,
also other
just to
inspirations.
interrupt this bit, I feel like this adventure has the potential to be expanded into something like Frozen, like it was like something like Wild Beyond the Witchlight. Like this could be expanded to be something like that. It even has a huge snow castle on a promontory. I'm just
Yes.
saying. So, Amy Miura, if you're listening to this, it's just an idea.
All right. We come up on page 4, which starts with the introduction, which once again mentions the inspiration from The Snow Queen by Hans Christian Andersen, or H.C. Andersen, as he's mostly known, at least in Norway. He is a Danish author, by the way, that lived in the early 1800s, maybe. Fact check me on that.
I have heard the name, but I don't think I've actually read his books.
He, I credit him as one, maybe not the only, but one of the few authors that have their stories mentioned in the same breath as like folk tales and myths. So the Snow Queen, or the Ugly Duckling is his.
Oh, oh, I
Yeah,
didn't
right.
know
That
that. Yeah,
that
yeah, I've
sounds like
read
a folk
that.
tale, but it's his. That's his story.
Wow. Okay. Okay.
So he's managed to write these like almost universal stories that
Yeah.
has been just become folk tales, but they're actually stories written by him. Anyway,
Yeah.
this is intended as a one shot. It's even modular, where you're able to remove parts of the adventure if you want to cut down on time. And I really like that it starts off with content warnings covering not only which triggering subjects that are featured in the adventure, but it also mentions specifically that kidnapping and freezing are essential to the story of the adventure, but that the other themes can probably be either written out or adjusted to something else if anyone playing uh, don't want them to be included.
Yeah. I mean, I really appreciate having content warnings. And I'm impressed by just the way she had. I think Emmy's preferred pronouns are she, her, right? Let me see. I definitely, yeah, they, them. Sorry.
Yeah, there we
I
go.
Okay. I take that back. Um, so I'm really impressed by the way they have done the content warning. Because, well, one, I'm really bad at it, and in the sense that not that I don't know how to write them. It's like, for instance, if I were publishing this adventure, I wouldn't even think that freezing could be like a content warning. But when I saw
Right.
it, I looked it up, and there's real people with real trauma of freezing and things like that. So clearly, it's a thing. So kudos on the thorough job there.
Yeah. And this is also the place where they mentioned that this is a winter solstice one shot and not a Christmas one shot. But she does include a variant of the map where
Right.
there's a statue that's swapped out with a huge Christmas tree instead, if you wanted it a bit more
Yeah.
Christian, I guess.
It's good. No, I like it. I feel like that's a good bit of a business decision because like the primary consumers of this content will be somewhere in the Christian world somewhere. So
Sure.
I mean,
That's true.
but before the content, no, go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say, and one thing that I thought was really cool is the inclusion of the suggested music to play while running the adventure, where they link to playlists on Kobas, which is a streaming service not very well known, I think. I had actually heard of it before because they also sell music, but that's beside the point.
No, I heard of it because Spotify is becoming absolute nonsense. So I don't know about content wise, but more like their attitude towards life and society wise. So I think some of my friends suggested Cobas.
So yeah, she includes two playlists. One that's more Christmassy than the other. I did listen to a few of the songs, and yeah, I'm not really the background music kind of
Neither am I.
director, but these probably work.
They probably work. I do not have an opinion on that. No, but before the music and before everything, I wanted to mention that the introduction is I love it because it's so succinct. It avoids all kinds of nonsense fluff and just be like, hey, this is what it is. Continue. It's not like dramatic monologue from the Snow Queen in quotes that I'm like, why am I reading this? I need to figure out whether I can run this tonight or not.
Right. Yes.
Yeah. So that is, yeah.
We should also mention that it does make an introduction to some of the rules, like power rolls, combat negotiation, and montages. So it tries to kind of fill the same niche, maybe that Road to Broadhurst is trying to cover. Where
It does, yeah, yeah.
You could use this as an introduction to the game if you want to.
Okay. Pacing page. I like this. I always appreciate this kind of breakdown of like what is absolutely necessary for things to make sense and what is not necessary for things to not make sense. And this is always helpful. Because like for instance, I don't know if I told you, John, but I had the incredible audacity to take on Leon's outline for Against All Dragons campaign that they wrote. And I started writing it, and I just got done with the first chapter. But it is not about pacing, but this one, when I was reading this, I was like, oh, you know what? I should do this because I should put next to the encounters that, is this actually necessary? Is this part of the requirement for the campaign to continue? Or even if you skip this, it's fine. We're going to pick up the trail back later. So this kind of information is always helpful for the director.
Yeah, I like as a person that tends to be very optimistic when it comes to how much time it takes to run something. I like that I can look here and see, oh, actually I can skip the next part and still make the adventure work.
Yes.
Because I did overestimate how quickly they got through this.
Oh yeah, it's very rarely the other way around, isn't it? Like, it's mostly we think it's gonna go a lot quicker than it actually does.
Yeah, yeah. I also like the next section here where they supply alternatives or replacements to the monsters if you want to run it at higher echelons. I kind of trust this because I know that the encounter building rules in Draw Steel are pretty good.
Yes.
Which means that you could, in theory at least, just do this. And I like that they've done the work for me, so I don't have to look through the monsters like, what fits well instead of like the Snow Queen's Knight. And then,
Yeah.
a Frost Giant Storm Hurler works. I'm like, yes, that sounds right.
Exactly. No, I mean, to be honest, I have to say, I mean, this is not relevant to this adventure, but I think Draw Steel's encounter balancing math is pretty solid. I have yet to find one where it is too far in any side. Like, it's close enough that me, with the director power behind the screen, can make it work.
Yeah. That's been my experience too.
But that being said, I've only been running it for a year, so...
True.
Yeah.
No, I didn't have anything else for this page.
Okay. Neither did I. I do want to mention, though, that once again we meet some awesome Alderdoodle design in the trade dress. Like, I really like the embellishments around the page number. It's very minimalist, it's very subtle, and it's very on theme. I love it.
Yeah. And there's even one just like for page filler here that it hits for me. It hits the balance between being something more than just lines, but it's still just lines.
Yeah.
So this overview gives you both the synopsis of what's going to happen in the adventure, which I like because then it makes it easier for me to kind of plan ahead if I need to realign something. And then it, of course, gives you here's what's going on really, and not just stuff that the villagers, because the synopsis is basically people have been is being kidnapped by the Snow Queen, and the heroes roll in at the Midwinter Festival. And recently, some of the villagers returned from like a berry harvest run.
Right. Gathering?
Gathering, yeah. Berry gathering trip. And some of them got kidnapped, but Granny Kay got back. No,
Yana got back. Yana got back.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
It says that the characters are locally famous heroes recruited by the mayor of the small village of Frosthaven to investigate her wife's mysterious disappearance. But I feel like the adventure doesn't really do that. It throws you in the middle of the festivities, and then things blow up, which is, I think, the cool way to do it. But I'm like, okay, this is not actually how the adventure works. It's just a nitpicky thing that I noticed.
Ah, interesting.
The only reason I noticed is because as I was reading the adventure synopsis, I'm like, oh, why don't you just start with the combat? Why the blah blah of getting hired in the beginning? There is no blah blah of getting hired in the beginning. So the adventure itself is solid. But yeah.
Interesting. You've run this adventure, correct?
And not all the way through.
Oh, not all the way through.
Yeah.
So even with removing the option to remove modules, you still ran over.
Oh no, I wasn't trying to fit it in one session. It's just life happened and the next session has not been scheduled yet.
All right, so this adventure, we talked about a bit about this last time, and this adventure features box text that does the thing where it describes something that the heroes will probably want to do something about, but
it has
you're in the middle of a cutscene and you can't skip yet.
It has the freeze frame box text problem pretty severely, to be honest. The Great Thaw of Grismithrax Spire does have a lot of box text, but they are written in a way where it's not like the players are going to try to do something, but you're holding them hostage while reading this. But that is unfortunately not the case here. This is a pretty long box text to read at the table.
Yeah.
And there are multiple situations where I guarantee you the players will try to jump in and do things. So be wary of this. But I also have a different issue with this box text specifically. Because if you look at the box text, right, like recently multiple bad things are happening. The harvest is getting frozen, which, by the way, in a snowy area, how do you have harvest in the middle of a midwinter festival? It could be, but it just struck me as odd. 2, there are people who have gone missing. And 3, recently one of the key members of society have been kidnapped or like gone missing by mysteriously disappeared. Will there be such jolly festivities in such a small community in that case? So it felt a bit incongruous to me.
Interesting. Yeah, that's good. That's a good point actually. And I don't think it comes up for there are quite a bit of information from the NPCs later, and I don't remember it coming up in any of their like information blocks either.
Yeah, no, I don't think it comes up at all after this ever again. But I feel like it depends on the type of players you have, and I know that some of the players I have had in the past, and at least 2 of the players that I have now, will notice this and be like, ha ha ha.
Then we get a section covering multiple pages where we get to know where they list the NPCs and the information they have that the players can learn. Do you have anything on this?
Well, the only thing I have to say is I really like the way the information about Granny Gerda is here. It feels like a lot of text, but it's really not. It takes up half the page, but I don't think this is actually a US letter size page layout. Because if when I read it, I'm like, no, actually, these are all information I can use. It's not, flourishy nonsense. So I feel like for Granny Gerda, this is actually pretty good. Yeah. What about you?
The same. That the information is pretty dense, and it's clearly also noted which is the section of information that they have for the players, and which is the description of them as a person. One thing that I kind of found myself thinking when looking through these descriptions of the NPCs is the tests you can make to find out information.
Yes.
And I'm not very keen on using tests to determine whether or not they figure out something. But what's kind of even worse to me, and I think this is present on the next page, where the result that the players roll changes the story of what actually happened, because if they roll well, the NPC had a different experience in which they get more information, which to me, I guess it works because the players will never know, but to me it read weirdly.
So these are my notes. I don't know if these prescriptive style of tests, specifically with changing narrative, is helpful for DMs. It's very easy to get confused. So basically exactly what you said. Because now what is gonna happen is I have to remember which information they got. Which means when I'm prepping, I need kind of like 3 parallel tracks of information tree that I need to keep track of. So Yeah, I'm not a fan of information like this being behind tests. Although you cannot fail these tests in draw steals, well, you can, but like technically in this case, you're not failing the test.
Yeah.
It can cause confusion at the table because if I forget which one they got, and then I'm explaining something down the line which they don't know because they didn't get a tier 3 result, then we
Yeah.
run into problem.
Yeah, at least the tests are basically a you determine how much information they're getting, not if they're getting information or not. But
Right.
yeah, some of the information, I don't know if I noted this down in my notes, but some of the higher result information that you can get is makes a big difference in whether or not you're able to kind of suss out what's happening. And later in the adventure, it's almost assumed that you figure that information
Yes.
out somehow, and the
Yes.
only specific source is like a tier 3 result, and I'm
Right.
that kind of bothers me.
Yeah, I know. No, because also here's even a narrative question, right? If the mayor hired you, let's assume that happened. Let's assume you're hired by the mayor, and you're talking to these NPCs. Why wouldn't they just tell you everything? Like, why do you even need to make a test? Because these are not evil NPCs. They don't have anything to hide. They should just give you the information.
Yeah.
Yeah. So basically, just remove the test and give the players the information is the easiest solution. It's not a big deal. We're talking a lot about it, but yeah, there's an easy solution.
uh, th- let's see. Yes, because this is actually one of the tests that made me apprehensive. Maybe where in the tier 3 it says that Iris, this NPC, heard the faint sound of sleigh bells and felt like something was watching. This changes the narrative of what happened based on how well they roll, which I think because only if they roll a tier 3 does she hear this. So it almost says that a different thing happened in the past, and you kind of need to account for that now because the historical record will then be changed based on this outcome, and I'm not sure I like that.
No, I don't either. Unless I mean, you could, if you really wanted to use the tests here, you could take this cumulatively. Like if you get to tier 3, no, you can't even do that. No, because it's not going to tally properly. So yeah. Point is, pick the one you like, skip the test, and just continue. Give the players the information. They don't need a test
Yeah.
to find the information out.
So in this case specifically, it's because they went back out in the forest to search for the villagers, and depending on whether you roll a tier 3, they hear the faint sound of sleigh bells, which, yeah, I don't know. You're kind of rolling for how well they did when they went out.
Yes,
Search.
exactly.
And there's some, yeah,
Yeah.
there is something jarring and this is another one, which is a for other villagers where they can roll a test, and the tier 3 is they just basically discover a new NPC,
Yeah.
which
No,
and the thing is,
that
Gwyn,
NPC is important.
really
Yeah,
important.
you
Yes.
need to find them because if you don't, we will get to that. But that NPC is, I would say, inevitable. Like you have to find that NPC. But
have
before
so
we
much
even get to that
information
one, in the other villagers section in the previous page, that one, see that fourth point that nobody's seen some of the farmers on the furthest outskirts of Frosthaven. I don't know if you have ever lived in a village, John, but that's not how a village works. Like even if the farmer is like half a day's walk away, if you haven't seen them for 3 or 4 days, people are gonna go investigate like what's happening. Are they okay? Are they sick? Because that's how village communities work. Because I live, like, my grandparents used to be in a village, so I have spent quite a bit of time in such communities, and they're always watching out for each other. Sometimes nosily so, but yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah. But anyway, but the point is that next one is super important. Like you have to find Gwydion,
Yeah.
otherwise it doesn't work. Otherwise, the adventure doesn't work.
I do like though that and this is part of why they are essential to find. Gwydion opens for the possibility to negotiate with the Snow Queen.
Yes, exactly, and that's
And
why I say that it is imperative that you find Gwydion.
yes, especially in a game like Draw Steel, which is very combat heavy and can easily get players to result to
Yeah,
um, go for combat more
yeah,
often than maybe negotiation. Yeah.
exactly. I mean, it specifically says, right, like this, that the bullet point 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 is explains how she would rescue people who would get lost in the snow and might freeze to death. And in within parentheses, it says this should give them the idea that the Snow Queen isn't irredeemably evil and can be bargained with in Act 2.
Yeah, yeah.
But if they don't find Gwydion, this whole chunk of information is missing. So it's like a lore-less situation then.
Yeah. Because the way the Snow Queen comes off so far is she's evil and kidnaps
Yeah,
people for no
and kills
reason.
people. Like some villagers
Yeah,
died
yeah.
in the berry trip.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
And this is the part where this is actually a recent development. She historically she's actually been a good force.
yeah,
Yeah. You need to fight Gwydion.
yeah. You need to find Gwydion. That cannot be behind a tier 3 result of a test.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know how if Emmy was page constrained on this, because I mean, if not, you could just like find Gwydion should be in any 3 of these results. Just like how you find them, like what they're. You could add another negotiation here, whether Gwydion is willing to talk to you or not, or how much
Right.
information they're willing to give you. So if you roll a tier 1, he's suspicious of you. If you roll a tier 2, he's like neutral, and if you roll a tier 3, he's probably favorable towards you. But
Yeah, that could work.
yeah,
But that also comes back to the whole thing with you've been hired to kind of figure this out.
right.
So I feel like Gwydion as a elf that's been living here for a long time, I feel like they should be open to helping you as much as they can. But yeah, I may especially doesn't it mention here somewhere that he's kind of familiar with the Snow Queen
Yeah, 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 yeah.
like she used to be. So I feel like he should be interested in like clearing her name.
Yeah, exactly.
Anyway, let's move on
Yeah, let's move
because
on.
now the Snow Queen arrives, and once again, the whole thing about she can be bargained with is kind of not thrown under the bus, but it opens with with combat. So,
Right, yeah.
so
It's-
especially if you don't get the hint from Gwydion, this kind of says, oh yeah, she's gonna attack immediately.
Right, yeah. Because there's no way to talk to anyone. It's basically roll initiative.
Yeah, yeah,
I mean, also the read aloud is way too long. Way too long.
and I've noted down that this is one of the cases where you have the freeze frame where
Yes.
the Snow Queen enters, she does stuff, and the players are unable to act.
Yes. I do think that is okay. I don't. This is a solid adventure, but as part of the critique, I have to say I do think that freeze frame type style of box text is the cardinal sin of box text. Like
yeah.
you have to break it up. I think the Alexandrian wrote a whole blog post about this. I don't remember the title, but you can look it up.
You Google where you live too.
Yes. I'm as
But
far
as you say, it's time to roll initiative.
yeah. So I think I ran it for 4 people, and I think the encounter is solid. I don't have any complaints. I don't have any problems. It's a very, very manageable. I also really like that what Emmy has done in most of these encounters is you do not have to deal with more than like 3, maybe 4 stat blocks. Actually,
Yes.
3, which I really appreciate. Because with draw steal, sometimes I find like, how many bodies do I need to put on the field to make this a standard encounter? Because I go to stall and I start adding monsters, and very soon I get to a situation that, oh god, 4 players with 4 victories, no, 3 victories, and now I need to throw a dozen bodies at them to make this a standard encounter.
Yeah.
So that, yeah. So I really appreciate that she has kept, god damn it, they have kept this down to 2 or 3 stat blocks for each of those cases.
Yeah, totally agree. That's something I'm writing a small adventure as we speak, and that's one thing that I have also. I try to keep the number of stat blocks as low as possible too.
Yeah, no, I mean, you know where it gets really bad, and this has nothing to do with this adventure. Complete tangent. Sorry. So when I was writing the encounter for the encounters book, I was writing the second echelon level 5 war dog adventure, and every non-minion in there is a horde until you get to the leader. So, assuming 5 players, if I want to balance it, a standard encounter is probably 10 enemies every single time. So, like not 10 stat blocks, but 10 enemy tokens on the map.
Yeah.
So that was a bit of a challenge to figure out how to make this relatively sane for the director. You know.
I'll also mention that they mentioned balancing in here, where they suggest swapping out the Queen's Knight with the Queen's Archer if you want the combat to resolve faster. I like that because you might, depending on how much time they spend speaking with NPCs, you might feel like, oh, actually we need to pick up the pace a bit, and then this gives you an option to, oh, actually it doesn't really matter if you can just swap this one out and have less of a slog, I guess.
Yeah. And I also really like that the whimsical nature of the adventure, where they say that if your party just wants to pick up a torch or throw hot mulled wine at the icy fae, let them do it. And I think that is good. One should always encourage things like that, but it's also nice to have it explicitly mentioned.
Yeah. Then we get some stat blocks.
Yeah.
They look okay.
Yeah, I have no, I don't really have opinions about them one way or the other.
They imitate the official ones, and they're serviceable.
Yeah.
I guess.
They were not boring. It wasn't boring to run them. Which,
good.
Like recently I was playtesting my Water Weird, and John, it was mind-numbingly boring. I was bored. So now I'm back to the drawing board for the Monsters book. So...
this is the starting positions for the map. This is where the portal shows up. There's a big statue here. And there's an alternate version of this map that's included with the adventure where this is swapped out for a Christmas tree.
Yeah. No, I think cool map with plenty of things to throw creatures and people into. So I think it's you can totally see that one of the ice creatures being thrown into the water fountain, and the water falls down and they melt, right? So
yeah,
it's cool. I like it.
Yeah, and here they mention some of the features on the map, and how the market stalls can be used to either get high ground or and this is something that they mentioned. The people of Frosthaven will be upset if they are destroyed. These are the market stalls. When does this come up?
I also feel like they will have bigger problems to worry about than broken tables at this point, but that's okay.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
mean, if you look through any of the adventures I have written, you could probably find more complaints about things like this. It's very
sure.
easy to not notice such things when you're writing the thing.
I also find it interesting, at least, that the outcomes include both a victory and a fail state, basically, or a case where what happens if the heroes are defeated in this combat.
Wait, before the outcome, I have
Yes.
something about the portal.
Oh, yeah.
So my question is, if the heroes run through the portal mid-combat, they are weakened by the bitter cold of the Snow Queen's realm. I don't think that they get weakened if they go after the combat. So that is a bit confusing.
Oh, and there's also I see that I skipped one of my notes regarding the portal. Is that the monsters want to pull the heroes through the portal, but the heroes also kind of want to go through the portal to catch the Snow Queen. It is assumed. So why are they fighting? If they're both sides are
Right.
in agreement,
Yeah,
we should
yeah.
go through the portal.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a good point. I didn't even catch that. I guess if the heroes are trying, because this is the part that I have run, right, like, and the players were super worried about the villagers getting harmed or not. So although two of them were like, we should go through the portal before it closes, because they thought it was going to close.
Yeah,
I don't really know why, but I think it's a fairly reasonable assumption. Portals generally do not stay open very long.
yeah,
But the others were like, well, if we leave and these creatures are wreaking havoc in the village, we might just come back to ruins. So,
yeah. That's a good point.
it depends on the players, I guess. But yeah.
Yeah, yeah. But it mentions here in the tactics that the snow leopards will attempt to grab and drag the heroes into the portal, and then also the next line says that they want to bring them back alive
Yeah.
for interrogation and entertainment and
Yeah.
whatever.
Yeah.
So I'm not really sure that they are on opposite sides in this conflict.
Yeah, yeah, I agree. Okay, so outcomes. You had wanted to
Oh
talk
yes,
about that. Yes.
yeah. Let's see. What did I? Oh yes. I like that there is a. I like the idea of a defeat outcome. That in case the heroes lose, here's what to do. Especially when this is meant to be or could be run as an introductory adventure to Draw Steel as a system. I'm not sure. It says specifically that when the first hero falls, the villagers come to their aid, and I'm not sure why the monsters don't just grab the heroes and bring them back at that point if they're that. I don't know. I feel like
Yeah, that's a good point. I mean, you could, but first of all, what is meant by taken out of fight? Because you are not taken out of fight in Draw Steel until you die.
yes.
Which is
I
all,
I
yeah.
I suspect this is meant as a way for the director to have like an out if the players are losing. But
Although
I don't.
it is mentioned that the attacks are always non-lethal, so maybe you
Yes,
just I don't know what happens if you go to your dead number when getting non-lethal attacks.
I think the idea is you just basically just drop unconscious. But yeah, I don't know. There is something about the objectives and goals in this combat that are kind of conflicting with each other, in at least for me.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. No, that's fair. That's fair. I guess if in case somebody goes unconscious, you can narratively describe how a couple of villagers are coming out to like pull them into one of the houses to take care of them, protect them maybe, and then they get injured because whoever brought the character down is now attacking them or trying to pull them into the portal.
Yeah.
I do agree it could have been a bit better explained here.
But then in Act 2, the portal begins to shimmer and waver. The portal is closing, so it is closing. but only after the combat is done, which is,
Yes.
I mean, it is dramatic, I guess.
Okay, John, we have to give people a pass here because what are you gonna do, right? Like you want to,
Yeah, sure,
yeah.
sure.
This is
But it comes back to what your players mentioned, that why I feel like this is a time pressure. So I feel like almost the goal of the previous combat should have been, we want to get through the portal and the monsters are in the way.
yeah, that could have that I think yeah, no, I agree with your point, yeah. Yeah.
But the monsters actually want you through the portal, so you're all just pushing towards it.
Yeah, yeah. But I don't fault that the portal is closing after the combat is
Sure,
over
no.
one way or the other, because otherwise you cannot write an adventure.
Yeah, that's true. That's
Like
true.
evil has to evil in a circle until the heroes show up. Otherwise,
Yeah.
everything falls apart.
That's actually a fair point.
This box text is pretty good though. The one where you leap through the portal, that one, the first one. That one is pretty good. It's not it's a bit wordy, but not too much, and it's pretty useful. Now, this onwards are things I haven't run. I have
Okay,
only read.
yeah.
Yeah.
I see that I mentioned in my notes that maybe they should have fought the monsters on this side of the portal instead of in the market, because they probably that they jump through the portal after the monsters.
Yeah.
But I fear that if you go through it, you just end up on a flat waste, which is
Yeah,
not
that's
as
true.
interesting
That's
to
not very
fight on.
True. Yeah, I mean, you could put some hazards, like instead of quicksand, you have quick snow or something like that. Which
Or maybe
could
some
be-
crevices or something.
Maybe
If
some
you're
crevices,
maybe you
yeah,
land on
yeah.
a glacier,
Yeah.
and there's like crevices you have to
Yeah.
avoid. Yeah.
Could be interesting. Yeah, could be interesting. But yeah, this is where the session ended, where I dramatically read this box text out loud and said, and that's where we'll pick up next time.
And that was 3 months ago.
Well, two months ago, but yes. Scheduling.
I didn't have much noted down for this. You do get introduced to the Snow Queen's palace and the features of the palace, I guess. There is a section between where the first box text ends and the next one starts. That is basically like a travel section. I don't necessarily need some mechanic to be between them, but I feel like there's a jump there that I want, like a note at least.
So, my plan was I was gonna bring the montage test in the end to here.
Ah, yes.
Like getting to the palace is the montage test, not getting out towards the portal.
Interesting. Because I did wonder about that. We'll get there when we get there. But I did wonder about that. Why didn't we do a montage test in, or some obstacle
Yes,
on the way
yes.
into the palace?
Exactly. Yeah.
But we'll get back to that when we get there, I guess. I do mention on the next page though that I like the tests better, because they yeah,
yeah.
they don't rewrite history, basically.
No. And thing is, here the tests make sense.
Yes.
It makes perfect sense that there would be these tests required here. As previously, it didn't make sense. Like, why am I trying? Like, why is there a chance that the NPC wouldn't tell me everything?
Yes.
Yeah. So
One-
I think
one
these
thing
tests
that
make sense. Yeah. Go ahead.
One thing that I found interesting is the 2 lines down here. They may encounter the snow leopards lounging around the palace. And the heroes are now supposed to suspect that they can be talked to. They were just fighting them in the previous act,
Yeah.
but now they're friendly.
Yeah. I feel, I'm worried that they're. Well, I don't know what my players were gonna do, but they were feeling pretty hostile towards these things. So I don't know that they would want to talk to them. I mean, I feel like this was there as a safety net in case the heroes completely botch the tests before. Uh, but I don't know that it's much of a safety net.
This could probably be fixed with the monsters in the previous section yelling something that we're the bad snow leopards and we we just want to defeat you and kidnap you.
Yeah.
But once they get here, they're more like, yeah, we're the chill ones. We're just lounging
Yeah.
around. We're down to talk. I don't know.
Yeah.
Or maybe you could have like what's it called, the Cheshire Cat from Alice in Wonderland. They basically just one suddenly appears and says, "Oh, well, what are you doing here?" Something that may because
Right.
yeah, I don't know. It feels like it's just yeah.
I agree.
It feels a bit throwaway, and I don't know why the heroes wouldn't just attack them.
Me too. Next up is the throne room. Again, a very long, freeze framey box text. Not a fan. But here comes a very problematic sentence in the beginning of the next page.
Oh, okay.
The heroes must, and we're already in trouble. We're already in trouble here.
This firstly assumes that the heroes know that they can negotiate with the Snow Queen at all. And they mention somewhere in the adventure, or maybe it's in the description on the itch page, that it includes the stat block for the Snow Queen. She's a level 10 solo. Unless you're echelon 3 when playing this, that's going to be impossible. She's going to wipe this party.
Yeah.
And I'm not... how... I mean, I'm not above just saying you recognize that she's incredibly powerful. The stuff that she's doing to this place is clearly way over your heads. You're not...
Yeah.
There's just so many hints here that she's incredibly powerful that you realize that the heroes in this world would realize she's not to be trifled with,
Right.
and don't instigate a combat here. I'm not above that as a director, because of that's how I run sometimes.
Yeah.
But I'm kind of opposed to the adventure doing the same.
Exactly. Yeah, I feel like this would have, in reality, if I had continued running, this situation would have just turned into a bit of a Deus Director Machina, in the sense that I would have to take the Snow Queen, do some of the devastating attacks, and then be like, I'm impressed by your fighting prowess. What do you want? And like try to like trigger the negotiation from her side. If my players weren't going for it, I don't know if they would have gone for the negotiation, because they didn't find out a lot of the stuff that they were supposed to find out, and they were, as I said, they were feeling pretty hostile by the time they went through the portal.
I feel like there's a missing section where the heroes very explicitly get told that you can never hope to defeat her, but if you're lucky, you might be able to like save some of these frozen people and negotiate for their probable safe return.
Yeah.
I don't think there's any. Gwydion has some hints about that, but I don't feel that it's explicit enough, because when Draw Steel heroes show up in this throne room and see the Snow Queen, they're going to draw they're going to draw steel.
They're going to draw steel. Yeah.
There she is. She kidnaps people and frees them.
Okay, so then next are the negotiation stats. I mean, these are good.
Yep.
These are perfectly good. I don't have any opinion on this one.
Same.
Yeah. Okay. A great art. Great.
Yes.
I love the art.
Yes.
Although, okay, this is probably licensed art, so I can't fault them. But this feels a bit more abandoned than the sparkliness that the box
Yeah.
text get me. But I mean, you can't find stock art that perfectly fits your thing. So
Yeah. That's where I landed. I like this piece of art. It's not exactly, but
yeah, and
I think it captures the scale at least
yeah,
of what's
yeah,
going on.
absolutely, yeah. And I'm
Yeah.
not sure why there's this weird yellow border here.
Yeah, I was wondering about that too.
It's it's a bit of a confusing border, but anyway, um, outcomes, they're fine, but honestly, I don't like the negotiation being the climax of this kind of a thing. Um,
I mean, that could work. I mean, that is. I was about to say that that's basically how the Matrix trilogy ends, and
True,
it's how
true.
the first Doctor Strange movie ends with a
Dormammu,
basically a
yeah, yeah, yeah,
negotiation
also
with
true.
Dormammu.
Yeah,
I've come to bargain.
yeah.
So I think that could work,
That's
but
a
I
good
agree
point.
that maybe not in this case.
I feel like this would have worked in pretty much any game other than Draw Steel,
Yeah.
where you were itching to use your powers. But I mean, okay, to be fair, this is a perfectly usable negotiation stats and outcomes. If you just want to lift this out of here and put it somewhere else, this works just fine.
Uh, in the outcomes, it mentions a difference between whether or not the hearts of the villagers are melted, and it's never actually explicitly mentioned what that means, but it's kind of implied that that's the source of the freezing, especially with the possible test outcomes previously where
True,
they.
true, true.
So it
Oh,
kind of ties back to that, but that is kind of dependent on the heroes rolling well there, and it's not really explained to the director. So you're just kind of supposed to figure out that, oh, actually, yeah, because of the ice in their hearts, that's why they. So it, because you can in the interest 3 outcome, the hearts will melt in time, it says. And for interest 2, it says the Snow Queen agrees to release only Granny K and Granny Gerda,
yeah,
presumably with their hearts still frozen, but it doesn't really. What does that mean?
true. I mean, it does say that the hearts will melt in time in the previous one, in Interest 3, and the other villagers, and
Yeah,
says their heart. But yeah, it's a bit confusing. I feel like it needed some mechanic.
yeah, or at least an explanation of
Yeah.
what that means at all, explicitly for the director.
So, next section. Help, my heroes attack the Snow Queen. Here, Emmy gives us their blessing to cause a TPK. We should be absolutely fine. If the heroes are being relentlessly dumb, it's fine to kill them. I strongly believe in that. But do give them a chance to understand what they're getting into.
Yeah, I feel like the telegraphing hasn't been explicit enough in the text of the adventure that this is a TPK outcome. And again, especially in Draw Steel, which is
True.
a game that introduced itself as a game about fighting monsters.
And you put a monster in front of your heroes.
Yes.
So, yeah.
So I don't know how to. I don't feel like the text is telling the heroes that this shouldn't be attempted,
Yeah. No,
and
I mean,
especially if you're higher echelon. Yeah, I don't know.
I mean, I feel like if you were running this as a director, you'll have to do quite a bit of the heavy lifting on your end to make it work. You might need to add more events or let them investigate a bit more and give signs of terrible natural damage that has been caused to around the place where there was the berry trip attack that happened, to impress upon them that this is a really dangerous foe that you cannot fight.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah. Or just let them find an old shrine of the Snow Queen where they can get some of the lore of how powerful she is and how
yeah.
much they should not fight her. I feel like that could just be like an alternative to not finding Gwydion. Like you could learn it. Like if you go investigation into the forest, you find an old shrine with inscriptions about some of the history. But
Yeah.
you have to come up with some other ways to make sure that your players know about it.
Yeah, definitely. I agree that a TPK should be allowed if the players are stupid enough to
Yeah.
open a can of worms they can't handle. But I don't think the can has been labeled properly.
Yes. Yes. Agree. That's a very good analogy. Yeah. I agree. Montage test. Back to
Yes.
Frosthaven.
And this is the part where I was wondering why are we doing a montage now when we got there to the port, we got to the palace fine,
Yes.
but now we have to do a montage back. But it kind of explains itself in the text that it's because of the villagers you're most likely dragging along
Sure, but
in various states of thawing, I guess.
yeah, but the villagers are from Frosthaven, though. They're not from equatorial Jamaica or something. So,
Yes.
so they should have some skills. But I do think that this is another example where you can lift the montage test and put it in pretty much most Arctic tundra, mountain, snow situation, and it's a useful resource.
Sure,
Even if you
that's
don't run this exactly, you can pick a lot of these challenges out of here for any kind of travel through snowy Arctic region.
I also think that it's interesting they mention here wild snow leopards and other dangerous fake creatures. I have to mention when I initially read snow leopard, my mind immediately went to the leopards made of snow, but they are of course referring to the leopards that are white as snow that are called snow leopards. I don't know why my mind went leopards made of snow. That makes sense.
See, John, we are so into fantasy that our brain first goes to fantasy and not the real world. And very soon there will be Inception kind of movie for us. Like, what is the real world?
But yes, they mentioned that there are like dangerous fake creatures which can be avoided or befriended. And once again, I'm like, why would the heroes even think of befriending them?
Yeah.
I like that they mention it as an option, that giving the director the idea that they can be befriended. But I'm not sure if they come upon some of these dangerous creatures as part of this montage. I would almost expect this to be a mid-montage combat.
Exactly.
More than a way to befriend the animals. And if I befriend them, I kind of want like a mechanical reward.
Yeah.
Maybe an extra success, or I don't know.
And if the players, since the players haven't ideally fought the Snow Queen, by this time they're itching for a combat.
Yeah, most likely, yeah.
So yeah. Okay, so moving on, there's an alternate montage challenges. Like a
Yes.
daring rescue.
And this is if you want to try to rescue the villagers and the grannies if you didn't get the proper outcomes from the negotiation.
Yes. See, this I like.
Yes. Yes.
This is a proper backup plan.
I'm just wondering though, if you lose the negotiation, I would why would this, well, see, it says she's unwilling to let the heroes leave. Or the heroes are might be unwilling to leave without the kidnapped villagers. Why are the Snow Queen allowing them to leave at all? She's just not been convinced that they should be. Wait, maybe I'm misremembering some of the outcomes here. No. The Snow Queen calls for guards to seize the heroes so they can be turned into ice for the statue gallery. So if you do really poorly here, this is where the adventure ends.
True. Yeah,
but if you get in first one, they're escorted out of the palace.
Yeah.
But it mentioned previously that she wants to keep people. I don't understand why I understand why the heroes are allowed to leave, because you don't want this to be the final adventure of these fresh heroes. But on the other hand, why? From like a lore and story
Yeah, I
perspective.
feel like we need it. It needs another consistent. It needs another development edit to catch these. Um, yeah, that is a good
I
point.
I I could I want a combat here against her guards, where the Snow Queen basically says, I'm not convinced. Guards take these to be made into statues, and she leaves to, I don't know, go sulk in a tower or something.
Yeah, and then you
These
fight
heroes are
and
beneath
escape
her.
from the guards, and then you can
Yes,
come back with this alternate montage challenge.
yes.
You fixed it, John. There you go.
She needs to get them to the pool of piranhas
Yeah.
to be lowered slowly into it, and she leaves because she just assumes that it works. Yes, but we get the montage here,
Yeah.
because we're slowed down by the potential villagers that we brought along. Yeah. The other kidnapped villagers are frozen solid. The heroes must find a way to melt their hearts and return them to life. Cool. Do we just use her abilities on them? I don't know. Does that hurt the villagers? I don't know. This comes back to the whole frozen heart thing that I don't
Yeah.
feel is
True.
properly
True.
explained. And I mean, if the solution here is just make them warm, then fine. But give me that in like a bullet point.
Right. True. 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 That is a
The
good point.
problem is that they're frozen to their core. If you heat them up, they'll be fine again. It just takes a bit takes a while.
Yeah.
And the Snow Queen can just reverse it immediately because of her magic. But yeah, I feel like there's like a mechanic that's missing here.
Yes. Yes. I agree with you now, because I thought in the beginning that it only affects that one section of the adventure, but now that I had forgotten that there are like multiple issues after this where this melted heart or non-melted heart comes up. So I feel like it needed addressing.
And then we get the conclusion with the, and here mentions specifically frozen heroes. And it says, and in case they were captured by her forces, but there are no. It basically says you are captured. So
Yeah,
I don't
that's
know.
like it's like another adventure, like
Yeah, yeah,
which is fair. Which is fair. I'm like
sure.
sometimes it just didn't work, and we can't expect them to expect Emmy to put in another adventure here.
No,
Yeah,
that's fair. But then in that case, I want this to say this is the end of the adventure. Skip to the last page.
true, true, true. I agree. I agree. But I mean, you have fixed it. If that one happens, then she leaves, and heroes fight the guards. They escape. Then we use the alternate montage challenge to get the villagers and Granny, etc., out.
Yeah.
So if you're running this adventure as almost as is, take John's advice. All right.
But I do like all the different endings though, because I like that the adventure does the work for me.
Yes. Yes.
And it's like successful negotiation, and they managed to navigate back. Successful negotiation, but the journey back was difficult. There's all these. Yeah, I like this.
Yeah. Absolutely. And then I think after this, it's only the Snow Queen stat block, which is, I think, pretty good. I haven't had a chance to run it, but reading it seemed fun. It seemed fun to run. But it's a level 10, so I have no idea when I'll get to run it.
Yeah, and it's not really useful. I mean, it's a nice solo to have. Maybe for some other campaign, it's only really useful if your heroes are like eighth or ninth level,
Right,
maybe 10th.
yeah. I mean,
And
yeah.
I've also made a note here actually about the endings. That if this is the start of a campaign, that this is the way you introduce your players to Draw Steel, and this is where you're going to continue after. It does put, especially like the worst endings, put a lot of work on you as a director to kind of figure out Like, yeah, there's this, and this is another adventure where you escape the Snow Queen. That's a heavy,
That's a
that's a
heavy
heavy
burden.
opening.
That's a heavy burden. Yeah, absolutely. You have to bring in Olaf Snowman to to melt one of the heroes out or something, and then with a warm hug.
Yeah, yeah. My immediate thought is, okay, one of the villagers somehow manages to get here, sneaking their way in, and fires up a torch and melts one of the heroes, who then frees the others, and
Yeah.
they somehow make a daring escape, and you go from there. It's a really interesting opening because there's this, you've already introduced this big bad villain, a level 10 solo that the heroes can't fight, and who's terrorizing this local village. And I kind of foresee a campaign where you're building alliances, and so at some point later marches on the Snow Queen,
Yeah.
either to defeat her or to fix her, because Gwydion, once again, the linchpin of this whole adventure, mentions that she used to be good, and the reason she's bad now is because people have forgotten her. So maybe the adventure is, we're going to spread the word of the Snow Queen, who saves people who gets into trouble in the snow or gets lost in the woods or whatever.
Maybe there's
So
a hag coven who wiped everybody's memory with I don't know poisoned pies, and that's why everyone has forgotten Snow Queen.
yeah, for example, like there's an interesting seed here of a campaign, I think. But yeah, I'm not gonna put it on me to put into like the here's the rest of the campaign that follows this adventure.
I
That's
mean,
not what this
what's one of the
adventure is
first
about.
things I said? I think this adventure has the potential to become one big hardcover adventure.
Yeah, yes, yes.
Just saying.
So yeah, I agree with that. I just feel like, but both that it introduces failed states that are very elaborate to get out of, and it's all left up to the director. So I kind of feel like the adventure is letting me down, because if I end up in one of those states, I'm like, well, good luck, you're screwed.
It's true. It's true. Yeah, I mean, those are all true. But I do want to end with a bit of a positive note, though, because there's enough material in here between the stat blocks, the modular content, some of the NPCs that you can pick from here. That if you buy this adventure, you're gonna get your money's worth, even if you don't run it as is. In fact, I would recommend not running it as is because of all the things that we talked about. But there's enough good stuff in here that you can absolutely steal and stick in your own campaign, or like you can modify the story a little bit this way or that way to make it work. Yeah, so if you come up with a mechanic for the heart melting thing, if you figure out a second way to give them the information that Gwydion has so that they can have a bit more sympathy towards the Snow Queen, then I think you can make the adventure work.
Yeah, and by the way, it's $5 on Edge.
Exactly.
So
Exactly.
so
Yeah.
it I will agree that all in all, it is worth the $5. If only for the monsters and the ideas and some of the like the montage, as you mentioned.
Yeah.
That, you just rip that out and use that in a
Exactly.
mountain pass or whatever.
Exactly.
I think that's a very good point. Yeah, yeah. So all in all, there are a lot of good ideas in here. But it doesn't quite stick the landing for me.
Yeah, yeah, same for me, same for me. But I think it's a solid thing. I really wonder if Emmy was space constrained or time constrained when they were writing this, because there's enough cool ideas, which to me felt like they were rushed a bit to completion. I don't know. I'm just completely speculating. I feel like the concept needed a lot more space to fully breathe.
I do remember that this was released right before Christmas of last year. So there might be a wish to have this ready for people like visiting family or friends during the holidays. and then having this to play if they wanted to play Draw Steel with new people, for example.
That's a good point. Yeah. Okay, I think that's all from me.
Me too. I think we both agree that there's a lot of good ideas in here, even though it doesn't necessarily stick the landing. But it's well worth the $5 it costs to pick it up on itch. And this is not the last we're going to see of Emmy, I think. And
I hope not.
Same.
Yeah.
So support their work by by picking this up.
Yeah.
That's been all from us. I'm John Denor. I run the Goblin Points podcast. Check it out at goblinpoints.com or my digital tool set called Stall at stawl.app. Shuv, where can people find you?
They can find me on Blue Sky as either Tabletop Nonsenseverse or my own name. I have both the accounts, and if they want to support us, they can get copies of the Blacksmiths Guild, which is the first third-party Draw Steel magazine, which we started way back in June last year. We're almost coming up on a year.
Yeah, but you've basically done the first year already.
Yeah, the issue 6 is out, so the issues are all out for the first year. Yeah. Also, you can go follow Emmy on Blue Sky. If nothing else, their posts about what's happening in their Draw Steel games are really fun to read.
Yes, they are actually. I concur. Well, that's all from us for this conscientious community creation critique. And we'll hopefully be back with another
Conscientious community content critique.
Did I mess it up?
I'm leaving all of this in. You know that, right?
No! I'll see you next time.
Snackers.